Here's one of my rules in finance that I kind of learned. I don't remember where I learned this from, but if anybody says anything is always true, never true, or impossible,
they're all
you
absolutes.
need to, yes, the absolutes in anything, you need to be very careful.
Yeah.
Because with blockchain, the theory is and was that it's impossible to hack. I just last week, maybe 2 weeks ago now, saw an article where $640 million Bitcoin was stolen out of a bank or something. I can't remember what it was. And they can't figure out who took it.
Right, because it's not tied to identity.
Yeah, because it's not tied to identity. So there are gives and takes here. The main promise of blockchain is that it will eliminate most fraud.
Yeah.
Most of these issues, it in theory will eliminate because it's hard, because it's encrypted, because it's harder to track or get a hold of, all that stuff. Nothing will ever fix this problem permanently.
Yeah. But it still does need to be tied then back to human common sense and our existing business processes in order to double back it, so to speak.
Yes, exactly.
Right?
Yeah. Have records, have duplicates, have redundancies, all that stuff. Yes.
So if anything, I would trust a transaction more if somebody said to me, let's use blockchain technology for this, for a lot of our tracking. I would actually trust that more because then say, okay, we're going to use that. Then we're going to use our processes. We're going to get lawyers involved. We're going to do our contracts. That to me does solve the majority of the fraud that we're exposed to now.
Yes. Yes. And that's frankly, that's one of the big promises of blockchain is to eliminate fraud. Why is that important? Not just on the front level. I've had my identity stolen twice.
Oh, yeah.
That's a nightmare of a process to figure out. But it could stop, in theory, again, it could stop that kind of stuff. So the person who stole my identity, they would be far easier to track, and it would be far harder to get a hold of the information in the first place. Again, why is that important? Not only because it eliminates the headaches from the millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of people every year who have to deal with some kind of online or internet fraud or identity fraud or whatever, all the frauds out there that are perpetrated online. It'll eliminate, I've seen estimates between 70 and 90% of those kind of frauds, which will save us all an enormous amount of time. For these businesses and for business owners, it will also save an enormous amount of money as well. How?
How will they save money?
Yeah, how?
Yeah.
If you can eliminate 70 to 90% of fraud, companies like, for example, I think it was American Express had spent like $10 billion a year to secure their stuff.
Yeah.
If they only have to spend $1 or $2 billion on that, that's $8 billion more dollars they can reinvest in the company, pay dividends, do whatever they want.
Which is great. Anytime a company can do that, we want them to reinvest in the business. That is a great thing to happen.
Well, and then that means they can hire more people, they can reinvest in the business, pay dividends, do whatever they want with the money. That money isn't wasted essentially on trying to prevent fraud.
Right.
It's actually reinvested at a higher rate of return. So it's more of a, it's more proactive than reactive is probably how I'd put it.
So overall, it's smart. Based on what you're saying, it's really smart for all businesses, at least most of them that I can think of, to have a look at blockchain, to see, talk to somebody like you, or maybe even an expert in blockchain. I know that's not exactly what you focus on, but you know a lot about it. And look at the options here to see how can they cut their costs. Because if they can cut their costs, it might make the difference between barely staying afloat to we're in the green now. I mean, it could make a big difference for these guys.
Oh yeah, no, over time, I think I think blockchain is going to transform the world and how we transact, and specifically how we transact things.
Yeah.
And again, the more efficiency there is in any process, but specifically the more efficiency there is in this process in transacting anything.
Right.
The more money companies make, which means all the other stuff we just led to, that could also mean not just in theory, this has happened throughout history. The more efficiencies there generally are in an industry, the lower prices go as well. So it could help consumers, could help all the size consumers as well.
I love it.